Hello my friends, I hope you're well and I hope that you're looking after yourselves. I never thought I'd be filming my very first vlog under these circumstances. Life is absolutely crazy at the moment, so all we can do is remain as positive as we can. I just wanted to see if I could give you guys a hand and to share with you my top list of essential ingredients that I have in my cupboards at the moment. I love to cook, as you know, and I just wanted to make sure that I could share those ingredients with you guys so that you have an idea of what to stock your cupboards up with. Now, I certainly don't advise that you stock your cupboards up with 15 packets of pasta and 20 cans of tuna. I think that we need to be mindful of what we're buying. The supermarkets are working day and night to get us all the stock that we want, so there's plenty for everybody. We just need to be sure that we're sensible and pragmatic. So if you're interested in knowing what I'm going to cook with all these ingredients, then please keep an eye on my page. I already have a whole load of recipes on my page if you're interested. So if you haven't already checked them out, then have a look. So keep watching if you want to know what I've got in my cupboards, and keep an eye on my page because I will be posting all the recipes that I cook with these ingredients. I will continue to try and give you as much inspiration and as many recipes as I possibly can. So until then, guys, I will speak to you soon. Take care. I always like to have a loaf of bread in my freezer at all times. Any bread you can freeze as long as you freeze it on the day of purchase. Same goes for burger bun, and the same goes for things like Warburton's Thins. The wraps as well, tortilla wraps are great in the freezer too. Pita bread's good in the freezer. Pretty much any bread product I freeze as long as it's within date, and I freeze it on the day of purchase. To thaw them, take them out the freezer and stick them in the fridge straight away, and they'll defrost over the course of a few hours. I do actually go straight to the toaster with my frozen bread slices. I've never experienced any problems with it. The bread comes out nice and toasty, and actually you can't even tell the difference. Okay, so frozen ready meals. What I do like is breaded fish. To conserve space, take these out of the box and put them into freezer safe bags. The other thing I have here is fish fingers. Now I wouldn't be without these in my freezer because they're good for emergencies. Frozen pizzas. These are really useful to have, and they're relatively inexpensive if you get them on offer. You take them out of the cardboard box and leave them in the packaging that they're already in. Pile them up in your freezer if you can. If you've got a chest freezer, sit them up on their sides so that they're not taking up too much space and so that they're not going to break. Potato waffles. A quick little tip, I did not know this. Well, I probably should have known given the fact that it says so right on the box. I actually didn't know you could put these into the toaster. These toast in a few minutes and they're really easy, really quick, really simple. I would definitely take them out of the box and put them into freezer safe bags and freeze them in little piles to save space. I almost forgot, I have to give an honorary mention to frozen potatoes, of course. These are a staple, I think, in most households, so if you've got a couple of bags of chips, then you won't go wrong. Okay, frozen vegetables. My friends, these are what you need if you're wanting to stock up and you want to make sure that you are remaining as healthy as you possibly can during this time. So the first one that I would always suggest is frozen peas. Now these are good in all sorts of things from curries to pastas. Frozen sweet corn. Now I have canned sweet corn, but I find that they can take a lot of space up in my cupboards. Can be quite expensive, so I like to use frozen sweet corn. I just pop them into a saucepan and heat them up with a little bit of butter or oil, and they're good to go within 5 minutes. Mushrooms, again, straight from the freezer into your wok or into your frying pan, fry them up and you're good to go. So these are good to put into omelettes, they're good to have in pastas. Okay, frozen carrots. These are a really good, healthy freezer staple that I think everyone should have. If you don't want to use them frozen, take a handful out, stick them into the fridge, and after a couple of hours they'll have thawed and you can chop them up. What I like to do with the vegetables is I like to put them into a saucepan with a little bit of butter, a little bit of garlic, fry them up, and these are good to go in a sort of 10 minutes or so. They're cooked, really healthy, again, really simple, really easy, and they will feed your family very well. Frozen chopped onions are an absolute must in my opinion for anyone's freezer because these are good obviously as a base for curries, as a base for pastas. Really easy. I just fry them straight from frozen and they're absolutely wonderful. Now I want to talk to you about frozen herbs and spices. I cannot live without frozen garlic and frozen ginger. I find it difficult and often time consuming, and just quite frankly I can't be bothered peeling and chopping tons of garlic. So what I do is I buy packets of it. So you can buy crushed garlic. They've been frozen in ice cube trays and these are so convenient. I throw these into my curries and pastas just straight from frozen. I don't have to worry about thawing it. It's fantastic. Same goes for the ginger. You can buy little packets that you can shake into your curries and shake into your dishes. All those frozen veggies that I just showed you, These are how you make them really tasty. Other thing I'd like to talk to you about here is some frozen herbs and chilies. Now this is a real time saver, and it's really handy when you either don't have chilies or you don't want to chop chilies because maybe you're about to change your baby's nappy and you don't want to burn them with your chili fingers. You can also do this yourself by just simply buying chilies and just grinding them or chopping them up yourself and putting them into ice cube trays. I've got rosemary and I've got coriander here as well. Now these are really useful to have. You can also freeze basil, you can freeze mint. If you can't find ready-made bags that are frozen already, just do it yourself and they last for ages. Okay, frozen fruit. You can buy loads of frozen fruit in the supermarkets just to throw into smoothie. You can heat it up with a little bit of sugar and put it over some cake for some dessert. For frozen proteins, I have some frozen haddock fillets. It's good to have some frozen white fish or even frozen salmon. Very easy to cook. Thaw them overnight in the fridge, roast them, grill them, steam them. I have some frozen prawns here, nice jumbo king prawns. These are great in pastas, stir fries. Again, you can thaw them in some cold water. They're ready in about 10 minutes. Okay, so I also have some frozen lamb here. In my freezer, I've got some frozen chicken. I have these in my freezer at all times, regardless of what time of year it is. I often go to the butcher's and I will buy just regular chicken or regular lamb, put them into bags and freeze them as soon as I get home. And then I've got a supply for maybe a month. If you didn't know, you can actually freeze grated cheese. So I've just bought a couple of bags of ready grated cheese and I'm going to stick them in the freezer and that'll be that. Cream cheese doesn't freeze at all very well, so you don't want to freeze cream cheese, but cream cheese does have a relatively long shelf life. I like to stir them into pastas and I like to put them onto toast for my little ones. I also have some Elmley cream, which is not actually true real cream. It's a combination of buttermilk and vegetable oils. So it's not true cream, but it's a great substitute and it has quite a long shelf life. It's a good way to have cream in your fridge, put through things like pastas or to drizzle over cake, for example. It just makes life a little bit nicer. Eggs are another staple in my house. They've got a shelf life of maybe 3 weeks or so, I think. If you want to freeze these, you have to crack the shells open, whisk them up and put them into freezer safe bags. Okay, here I have some tortilla wraps which I use all the time. They've got a relatively long shelf life, I think maybe of about a month. And if I'm honest with you, there are times when I don't get a chance, if I'm making a curry, to make any chapatis. So I'll heat up one of these and use them instead, which is a good makeshift idea. These also make a really nice pizza. Put them into the grill with some tomato puree, a bit of dried oregano and some cheese. These are a great idea for kids as well. So I always like to have a couple of packets of these in my store cupboard. For the keen bakers out there, I would recommend having a couple of bags of bread flour in your store cupboard and some instant yeast, because it's very easy to whip up your own bread. If you're used to buying the beautiful fresh baked stuff that you find in the supermarkets and you're not able to get out to the shops, then this is your next best thing. Okay, let's talk about rice. So I have 2 types of rice in my cupboards. I have jasmine rice and basmati rice. Now, jasmine rice I like to use for Chinese dishes. If I'm making a stir fry and I want to serve it with rice, jasmine rice is my choice. If I'm making Pakistani and Indian cooking, then basmati rice is my go-to. You can buy 5 kilo bags, you can buy 10 kilo bags. So depending upon your needs and how many people you're feeding, you can buy a 5 or 10 kilo bag and it'll last you months. It can form the basis of loads of nutritious meals. Moving on to some more dry ingredients, I think it's very important to have lentils in the house. Lentils are a great source of protein when combined with rice, and they bulk out lots of meals. You can put them into salads, make lots of curries with them, and they're very nutritious. Definitely recommend having a supply of lentils. You don't need hundreds of kilos of lentils. I've just got 1 packet of a couple of different varieties and they'll last me for absolutely ages. Couscous is a good alternative to rice. Very easy to make. It's very inexpensive. Uses up very little space in your cupboards. It's definitely a nice way to bulk out meals. I also have some Scotch broth mix here, which makes a wonderful soup, and it's highly nutritious, and it's just basically made up of peas, different types of peas and lentils and barley. I make a really nice chicken and vegetable soup, which I think I'll post soon for you guys. Okay, moving on to pasta. Now, I don't recommend that you buy yourself 15 kilos of pasta, because if you buy everything else that I'm showing you, then you won't need loads of pasta. If you want to stock your cupboards up, that's absolutely fine, but you want to spread it out over a variety of different foods, and that way you are getting a lot of different things into your diet, and you're also leaving enough food on the shelves for everybody else around you to eat. So here I have a bag of pasta, which I will bulk out with things like chicken and vegetables, maybe some tinned tomatoes, things like that. So it's very easy to make and very quick. I also have a packet of egg noodles here, which I use to bulk out my stir fries. And I've also got some nuts and raisins and things like that, because these are good snacks to have for the children. So I've got raisins, I have sesame seeds, I've got almonds, and I have some cashew nuts, I've got pistachios and pecan nuts. A supply of healthy nuts, seeds and snacks is always going to be a good idea for children and for yourself to get you through the day. Okay, for some more random bits and pieces, I've got some flour here, which is good if you want to do a bit of baking. Some butter as well, which has a relatively decent shelf life in the fridge. And then I also have porridge for the children, Weetabix, Ready Brick, and regular porridge. Okay, now moving on to tinned food. You can make tinned food last a really long time if you use it wisely. Here I've got a selection of chickpeas and beans. Now these can bulk out meals and give you a really good nutritious base or a really good nutritious addition to many rice dishes, to salads. Let me just run you through what I've got here. So I have a can of chickpeas, white kidney beans, red kidney beans, cannellini beans. Now you can make things like a chili. You can make fajitas with these. Of course, these are vegan. You can make lovely salads. You can put them through rice. You can put them through meat dishes. Beans are a really great way to bulk out your dish and make them go that little bit further. So I'll show you some really nice recipes using these beans, but these are a really good nutritious addition to pretty much any meal. Sweet corn and peas, I think most people are going to have these in their cupboards at the moment. These are nice little standby ingredients. These are probably my most used store cupboard ingredients. Coconut milk is great for making Thai curries. It's great to make things like chickpea curries, vegan curries, that kind of thing. I'll show you a lovely recipe with that. Tomato puree is something I always have. It's a real good flavour boost. Of course, everybody I think has chopped tomatoes in their cupboards, as well as passata. This is basically just sieved tomatoes. I am throwing in the pineapple chunks for good measure, just to show you that you can also buy tinned fruit. So if you can't find frozen fruit, then tinned would probably be my next choice. What I would say is you want to look for fruit in its own juice. If it's stored in syrup, it's just going to be a sugary mess and it's not healthy for you. I would also highly recommend that you buy some jars of roasted peppers. Now this is my favourite way to inject flavour into a dish. I love topping pizzas with this. I love putting them into wraps and having them alongside hummus. Definitely very, very healthy way to get some more veggies into your diet. Tinned tuna is another very, very important one to have in your store cupboard. I usually buy tuna chunks in brine, but they never had any, so I had to buy it in olive oil. Peanut butter is another important one to have in your cupboard if you enjoy it and if you like a bit of a protein hit. Okay, over to my collection of spices. I have a stock of these spices in my cupboard all year round, only because I use them so often. These are probably the main spices I turn to when I am looking to cook on a daily basis. Black pepper, obviously, I mean that's a no-brainer. Curry powder, I've got a chickpea curry coming up which I will post for you using that curry powder. Coriander powder is another important one that I use, and cumin powder, ground cumin. Now for my other spices here, I have garlic granules or garlic powder. If you follow me on Instagram, you're going to know that I use this in pretty much every single dish I make. It really amps up the flavour, and garlic granules are your best friend because they will inject so much flavour. Onion granules are another ingredient I love to put into all my sauces, all my curries. Paprika powder, oregano for pizzas, for pastas. I have some turmeric powder here, something again I use in all my curries. Chili powder, cumin seeds, very important for curries. Packet seasoning is something I don't often use, so I've got Cajun spice here from Schwartz. I also have the Nando's peri peri rub, which I just absolutely love. It's really tasty over chicken and it's delicious over salmon as well. Stock cubes. I like to add stock cubes into soups. Moving on to the more random and miscellaneous types of items that you want to make sure you've got. Salt is a must. I actually use pink Himalayan salt. Mayonnaise is a good one to have if you want to make things like tuna mayonnaise, if you want to make chicken mayonnaise, salads, things like that. I have some sriracha sauce here, which is wonderful in so many dishes. I've got loads of recipes using sriracha sauce on my Instagram page, so check them out if you like sriracha. Sugar, but you definitely want to have a stock of sugar as well, in the event that you do decide to do a bit of baking. And then you want to make sure that you've got a good supply of tea and coffee. And as you can see here, coffee is what we use in our house to get us through the day. You also want to make sure that you've got some oil and vinegar in the house. I also have oatcakes. These are a really good little snack. These are like nice snacks to give to your kids as well if you top them with a little bit of jam or some cream cheese. So yep, definitely important for me anyway in my house to have them. I love dark chocolate, any kind of chocolate obviously, but you need to make sure you have your sugar fix. Popcorn, my favourite sweet and salted popcorn, so I like to have some of them too. So make sure you have some snacks as well to keep yourself sane, because you know we all like to watch Netflix and we all like to have munchies at the same time, so there you go.